Hello, everybody, and welcome. So, I haven't posted in a couple of days, and I've got a lot to catch up on, don't I? Foodie's been doing a lot. She did a few videos, and I'm going to try my best to catch up to everything. And one of the videos that I wanted to cover and give my thoughts on was a video that she did entitled, I Have a Binge Eating Disorder. So, anyone who's been watching Foodie Beauty, she has confessed that she is an emotional eater. She has confessed she has a problem with food. And I will say that she's right. She does have a problem with food. It's something that's been going on for a long time. Before I get started with this React video, I would like to state very clearly that I'm in no way going to be ridiculing her for having BED. BED is very serious. Anyone who has an addiction or a disorder, I implore everyone out there to seek help in treatment and therapy and to get on the recovery side of things. So by reacting to Foodie today, I am not making fun of her for BED or anyone who has BED. I'm someone that I have dealt with BED myself. It took me 6 years to get in recovery. So all of the thoughts that I'm going to be giving here today are based on my experiences with having it and my observations of her having it. So let's get into it. So, Foodie, in her time being in Kuwait, she told us all that her being in Kuwait was a good thing, that she was happier because she was with Salah. She has the cat, she has the hamster. She said that she was closer to Allah by being in Kuwait. Yet, despite all of these things going on, it just seemed like her weight was spiraling out of control, and her problem with food was getting worse, not better. So, although I'm not exactly sure what's going on with her, I feel that maybe Salah is putting pressure on her to lose weight, and perhaps in a way to quiet him down for a time. She's making these videos to garner sympathy from him and the audience and give herself some breathing room as far as losing a little bit of weight. Here's the problem. She is in such a state that she needs inpatient. Those of you that are on my channel, you've heard me say that many times, that in order for Foodie to have any kind of success with getting better, she needs strict, locked down inpatient. Because I feel at this time she has no self control whatsoever. And she needs to be somewhere where someone else can take control for a while until she gets the control back. And she's only going to get that control through inpatient therapy, counseling. Right now, she doesn't have it at all. But I want to go over stuff that I found on Twitter and also the video itself. So, anyone out there, if you might be struggling with BED, if this video might trigger you, I urge you perhaps to not watch it or watch it with caution. Anyone else, you know we're here for Foodie, and I'm going to give my honest thoughts. So let's get started. So let's go over to Twitter. I'm going to bring up my stuff on Twitter. Let me just get it prepared. And let me share the screen. So there's my Twitter. Okay, here's what some of the people on Twitter have to say about this. Draven says, Chantal, you were never treated for BED. We were there 2019 plus. You ignored everything your doctors gave except for the rugs, then gave up on the rugs. You skipped therapy so much they stopped appointments without pay first. Then you stopped going. You gaslit your doctors and admitted it. Stop. So that's an interesting point. The video that Chantal posted, the report that she gave in the video was from 2019. So I was curious about what was going on in 2019 because that was about 4 years ago. Let me stop Twitter for a second. I want to show you guys what was going on with Foodie in 2019. All I did was go to her channel and put in the year 2019, and these are the videos that popped up. So this was about the time period when she was still with BB, and she was in the process of the two of them breaking up and moving in with Pete's. So we got the 2019 New Year's plans. I feel this was right when she moved in with Pete's. And then we have her being fat at the movies. So she was kind of, up playing, being super morbidly obese. We have makeup looks. Oh, we got another mukbang. Then she, I guess, believe was doing a fast at that time. Why my weight loss doctor's plan is not for me. Then she did another mukbang, another one, saying she's not a weight loss channel. More stuff talking about weight loss, another mukbang. So she just kept going back and forth during the whole year of 2019. One minute she was trying to be healthy, and the next minute she was not. And I've always said to you guys that if you have a problem with something, you can't possibly get in recovery if you are monetizing that something and it becomes your content on YouTube. So she's got a problem with food. How can she possibly get over her problem if she's monetizing her problem and trying to appeal to a certain genre of an audience that they're looking for people like her? They're looking for the mukbangers. There are people out there with a feeder fetish. They're looking for people to satisfy their fetish. If you're catering to them, how can you conquer that problem? You absolutely cannot. If you're monetizing a problem, you're not going to be in recovery for the problem. So now that you've seen that, let's go back over to Twitter. Let me just pull that up again. So more thoughts from people. This is courtesy of Queen of WTF. This is a clip from Chantal.
So that being said, I tried to start my diet from starting today, and that diet is a mistake when you're trying to treat binge eating disorder. And I've been told this many times, but it's like my brain doesn't learn. Like my brain goes through a cycle.
No, I'm not here to treat you, Foodie. I'm not here to be your doctor. Only your doctors and therapists would be able to give you sound advice. I can only speak from my experiences, but you can't heal in the same environment that you're hurt in. Meaning, if you are in an environment where you have no self control and you know you have no self control, but you're in an environment where you can get to all the temptations and you can't, either Salah brings them to you or you can pick up your phone and just download an app and order whatever food you want. Someone with as severe as a problem with what you have, it's not the right environment for you. There is no self control for you. There is no stop button. There is no pause button. It's just you're going to do what you want to do. And if you don't get what you want, you'll throw a temper tantrum until you get what you want. And you're getting to the point where your health is getting so bad that you're sleeping 12 to 14 hours a day and you can barely move. And just walking across a room is exhausting you. Like all of the warning signs are there, all of the danger signs are there, and you're not picking up on them, nor do you care. Because if you did care, you'd realize just how serious the situation is. But just making a video and talking about your problem is really not solving your problem. If you're serious, you will go to therapy and you'll get into some kind of inpatient, either in Kuwait or in the States. I did do a check. It doesn't look like there's any kind of inpatient in Kuwait. You're probably going to come back to the States or Canada for that. Princess Forever says, Foodie Beauty, Chantal 5 months ago talking crap about Amber Lynn doing the diet content. Chantal, keep lying and saying how good money-wise you are. So let's watch the clip.
Lynn has started phase 1 of her weight loss cycle again. Boring. I gave up weight loss content a long time ago. I'll talk about my struggles with it, but you're not going to see me go try a diet, a fad diet, and be like, Lynn has.
So you just said here, this was 5 months ago, you're not going to do diet content anymore. But here we are, and you're talking about going on a diet. And people that have severe problems with food, diets don't work. They don't work. I'm sorry, they just don't. Diets are things for people that want to lose a few pounds, but they're not for things for people that have severe problems with food. That's just facts. People like Chantal need inpatient treatment. They need lockdown inpatient. But Chantal will never go to inpatient because that would mean she can't whip out her phone and make everything and everyone in inpatient with her as content. And she knows that. She can't do inpatient Bs where she's whipping out her phone and showing everybody else in there. She can't take her phone into therapy sessions. She's avoiding therapy and she's avoiding inpatient because she can't be a YouTube star at the same time. That's just my opinion. Another one from Princess Forever.
I'm sorry, but when I look back on my diet videos, I feel so bad for myself. Like, I feel mad that I even, like, I tried to make content to appeal, to get people not to hate on me. Now I just don't care and embrace it.
Did y'all hear that? So she just confessed that when she does her content, she's looking at things. Maybe she's following trends. Maybe she's looking at hashtags. She's looking for things that appease the audience. If she's doing content that makes people upset, she'll switch her content up for a little bit to get people off her back. So a lot of people have been coming at Chantal and saying, you're going ham with the food. Your problem with the food is out of control. Your health is bad. She'll do content to appease everyone, to get everyone off her back. And what I'd like to add to that, for those who would like to know, YouTube has been switching up their policies. And they're cracking down on people doing mukbangs. And they do have rules against monetizing eating disorders. Yes, they do. So a while back, when Chantal first started her channel, she would name her what she was doing as binges. And then when YouTube started cracking down on that, she just found a cute code word. She called it beezing because YouTube doesn't have a problem with the word beezing, but it did have a problem with the word binges. Now that the policies have changed again, suddenly she's doing health content. She's trying to find a sneaky way to go around the block to do what she normally does and still be monetized. So is that what this is, Chantal? You're still trying to find a way to eat on camera and get paid for it because you don't want to get away from that content? As I've said, someone who's got a problem with food has no business monetizing their problem with food. You want everybody else on YouTube to care about your problem, but you have to care about it first. You have to be the one to care about your health and your well-being before anybody else, because honestly, there is nothing that no one else can do for you. Okay, Cancer Warrior. This was back in the BB days. Cancer Warrior says, back when Foodie explained that BB doesn't know anything about her BED and how to properly help her, that he tried to be emotionally supportive though. Sounds familiar? Yeah, it does. It does, but let's watch the clip.
I told BB about it. You know, he doesn't, you know, guys, a lot of people will ask me, like, does your boyfriend support you? He does, but he doesn't understand food addiction. He has no idea what he's dealing with. Like, he doesn't really get it, you know?
And that's normal. That is absolutely normal. You know, if somebody tried to explain to somebody, hey, I'm an alcoholic, I have a problem with alcohol, That's easy to understand because you look at alcohol as being something that could potentially hurt you. Same thing with any kind of illicit drug or controlled substance. But to walk up to somebody and say, I'm a food addict or I've got a problem with food is kind of hard to understand because you don't look at food as something that can hurt you. You know, you think of food as being safe, but anything in this world can easily turn into an addiction and be a problem if it becomes an obsession and you get wrapped around it and then it just completely takes over. And food is in that category. So for someone who's got a problem with food, explaining to another person who doesn't have that problem and having them fully understand it is difficult. And BB, to his credit, he was a hardworking good man, and he did what he could do. He did what he knew how to do. He recommended to Foodie to eat healthy. He got her a gym membership. So he did what he knew how to do based on his understanding. But a lot of people who don't have food disorders, it, you look at somebody who's eating a lot of food and you tend to stop there. You think, oh, it's about just too much food and too big portions. When the truth of the matter is, it might go into areas where there might be trauma associated with that. It might be just habits growing up. It could be something emotional. It could be something psychological. This is where therapy comes in. This is where going to see somebody and talk to somebody and them helping you work through it. Find out what your triggers are and becoming aware of them. Learning different coping mechanisms. That's where you get these valuable tools and insight that you need that perhaps somebody who's not a therapist can't give you because they only have so much understanding. So BB did what he could do. But the problem is you need a lot more than that, Foodie, a lot more.
And I think he's there for emotional support if I need it, but he doesn't know how to proactively be like, okay, like it's not, he's just not that type of person. He doesn't have any experience with that. I told you.
And you know what, Foodie? I think when it comes to the men in your life, you purposely keep them in the dark about how severe things are because you're so needy and you're so wanting to be accepted by a man, to be loved by a man. But if you found the right man, if you are really want to be part of a relationship, you don't hide things like that. If you're with a partner, you're forever a life partner, they need to know. If you're with the right person, you don't hide things like that. You come to the table and go, look, this is what's going on, and I need help. And if they're the right person, they'll stick with you and you'll work through it together. But you hid it from BB. You probably downplayed the crap out of it with Natter. And now you're doing it again with Salah because you want them to keep you around and you don't want to be rejected. And here's the thing. You want a man to love you and accept you, but yet you will not do what you need to do to fix yourself. You want to come to the table being a complete mess in every way, and you expect a man to love you and to care for you and be there for life. You know, we all have issues. We all have things that we have to work on. But the important part is to work on them, to realize them, to be self aware of them, and move forward, not backward. So, next clip. This is a comment from Failure to Lunch. Saying poor privileged woman that doesn't have to work and has enough money to afford therapy, expensive diet plans, etc. You could have gone to rehab and actually helped yourself, but you're a lost cause. If you love Salah, I hope you have life insurance. It's kind of a harsh comment. Next comment. So I'm guessing Salah is going to get stuck eating your diet food while you go back to ordering takeout every night. If you're actually happily married, you would do everything to stay healthy for your partner so that you have as much time together as possible. Now, the last part, that last comment, that was the one I really wanted to address because they do bring up an important point. If you were actually happily married, Chantal, you would want to do everything in the world to be around with that person as long as possible and be healthy as possible so the two of you could spend your time together. But how much fun are you if you are eating and eating and eating and you sit there and you eat the amount for 4 people all in one sitting and you're sleeping 12 to 14 hours a day and you can barely move? How much fun are you as a wife, as a person, if you've got this younger husband and he can't go anywhere with you? He he can't do anything except sit on a couch and watch videos and movies. How much fun is that in a marriage, especially two people that are supposed to be newlyweds? How much fun is that? He wants to go out, he wants to do things, he wants to have a life, but you don't. You want to have a partner, but it feels like you want to chain him to your side and not let him have any fun and not live. Although I will say, Salah signed up for this. She came over for 3 months. He got a taste of her. He should have known something ain't right here. Something is very, very wrong. But for whatever reason, he decided to continue it. So she is in his universe now. So what can they do? What is she going to do? Because I'll tell you this much, Salah. Listen to me. Her problem with food is over her head. It's over your head. She needs inpatient. Anything besides that is not going to work. Diets are not going to fix it. Threats are not going to fix it. Tantrums are not going to fix it. Do you understand, sir? Once again, I say it's over her head and it's over your head. She has no self control at all. She eats when she's bored. She eats when she's stressed out. She eats to make herself happy. Food is her go to. And until she's put somewhere where someone can take control of the situation and be the control as long as it needs to be there, this is going to continue. And it might lead to a medical emergency. I'm someone that I've been reacting to Chantal for years. And in all the time that I've reacted to her, I have not seen the things that I've seen recently of her breaking couches and breaking shower drains and being so out of breath that she can't walk for 2 minutes and sleeping for 14 hours a day. This has never happened. Never in the Chantal time that's on YouTube has she ever gotten so big that she literally was ripping out of her clothes and she couldn't find anything to wear. The warning signs are all there that there is a serious problem. But none of us on YouTube can help her fix it. She's got to do it. This cannot be avoided anymore. She cannot sit there and straddle the fence, and 1 minute she's on a diet plan, the next minute she's doing a mukbang and catering to the feeders. A decision has to be made, or if not, there could be dire consequences. Justaline says, if this were a real relationship, why would he have to be supportive? She would basically lie to him and he could ask for a divorce. Thank God it's all fake. Raising trauma Potato says, imagine marrying someone within a month of meeting them and not having this discussion. Good thing this is a fake marriage and none of this matters. So let's watch the clip.
Another important thing that I have to do is really sit down and have a talk with him about my medical conditions, like in full, like read through these medical reports with him because he doesn't understand.
No, you know what? It's not a matter of he doesn't understand. It's a matter of you didn't tell him. And you didn't tell him because you knew if you told him, he might run the other way. That's why you didn't tell him. You did not want to disclose to him what exactly he was getting himself into, like how bad this was. Does he know about your non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which has been going on for years and it's probably like raging out of control right now? Does he know about your liver being 3 to 4 times the size of what it should be? Does he know about your out of control diabetes, your enlarged heart? Does he know about these things? Does he know about how bad the food problem is? I bet he doesn't. I don't think he does. Does he know about the laundry list of things going on, Chantal? You purposely downplayed this crap just so you could get what you wanted. That's what this is all about. You wanted Salah, you wanted to orbit around him, and so you said only what you needed to say to get his attention. Because what was that you said long ago? I remember you said, I just have to get into his house. Remember? You didn't say that about Salah. You said that about somebody else. But that's your point of view. I just have to get into his house, and then everything will be good. Which, by the way, is a creepy, stalkerish thing to say, but you said it. Because the way you feel, if you get into a guy's house, one, it means you're getting closer to that person. Two, you can drop anchor and put your stuff there and they can't get rid of you. Even if you break up, you're not going to take your stuff because then you have a reason to call him. You're that female that does that crap. But you hid a lot of things because you did not want him to know everything. You told him only what you thought he needed to know or what he needed to hear, and you hid the rest. And now it's coming back to haunt you. You might have gotten away with it if you had improved yourself over in Kuwait and started losing weight and getting healthy, but you've gotten worse. So now here we are. And it's getting to a point, I'm sure, where he's looking at you saying, what in the heck is going on? You're gaining so much weight, you're sleeping so much, you can't do anything. Like, what is going on? You put yourself in a position where you're having to have these conversations because you're not improving. Your life is getting far worse. Kim Possible says, you aren't slick. Salah called you out. You made that video for Salah on your way out to the beachfront apartment for being a liar. I think Salah boy is catching on and told you off. He might have. You know, I'm getting the feeling that Salah wants to travel. He wants to get out of Kuwait. He wants to do things. Maybe she's been feeding him a bunch of promises of, we're going to do stuff together. We're going to travel. We're going to travel. I promise, I promise, I promise. But Salah, dude, read the room. You got this woman who eats all the time. Like, she can barely move around where you are. And you expect her to be travel ready in a month? You expect her to lose 50 pounds in a month at the same time you're watching her eat fast food and you bring it to her? Come on now. Come on, bro. Read the room. Ain't no way. She can't make up her mind whether she wants to eat healthy or she wants to eat unhealthy. And it doesn't help if you're bringing her the food that she doesn't need, by the way. You can't sit there and be on her behind and say, I want you to lose weight at the same time you're bringing her fast food. You got to make up your mind, bro. You can't complain about a problem if you are contributing to the problem. You got to pick a position and stick with it. But her problem needs inpatient, period. Full stop, end of story. And if she doesn't go into inpatient, she's not going to get better because she's going to be surrounded by temptation and can't control herself. And I feel also that's one of the reasons why she doesn't want to come back to Canada, because she knows she has no self-control. And she's been away from all of her temptations for too long. And if she comes back, she's going to go wild. She won't even make it out of the airport. She'll get off the plane, she'll see the Starbucks, she'll see the BK, and it'll start right there. And then later on, it'll be a trip to the outhouse. And we all know what that means. Before Kuwait, she had a tolerance for a lot of things. Coming back, she won't have any. She'll lose her mind. So she knows without Salah there, she can't control herself at all. So she don't want to come back to Canada. She's losing control in Kuwait. She'll lose it even faster coming back to Canada by herself. That's why she's avoiding coming back to Canada. Part of the reason, anyway. New account Beeson says, I have a theory that he's on her butt about her weight And the reason she keeps making these videos pretending she's about to start taking her health seriously is to make him really believe she's serious. That's when he starts to back off of her, so she abandons her diet. Right, this is all like smokescreen. Oh, I'm really taking care of my health this time, Salah. I'm doing it. See, I'll get the diet food. This is to give her some breathing room so he won't be on her behind. And then another week or two, when it's apparent that she's been lying, he'll get on her again. And she'll say the same things again. She's just trying to get him off her tail long enough to where he won't be angry at her. Hidden Truth says, Foodie Beauty, I wonder if Salah gave her an ultimatum to go on a diet so they can do things and travel, or else. I don't know. I have no idea, but I would think so. I think he's getting impatient with her. I think he's getting antsy to leave and go somewhere and travel. And obviously she's not in the state to go travel. And for him, he's a younger person. It's a drag to be with somebody they can't do anything. Okay, what else we got here? Katie says, didn't properly explain, aka lied. Holly Go Heavy says, no, BED is not hard to understand. Salah doesn't get it because of you. You didn't explain it in the 8 months because you're ashamed. You curated this fake life and can't be a player in it because you're unhealthy. He's not the one that doesn't understand. Well, if someone doesn't understand something, it's because you didn't explain it to them, because maybe you hid it from them, Foodie. And you're supposed to be married. It's supposed to be your husband. And you're hiding stuff from him? Not a good look. Let's watch.
So what I'm going to do, I think, with this diet box is just supplement the month, because Salah already paid for like a whole month for me. Another important thing that I have to do is really sit down and have a talk with him about my medical conditions, like in full, like read through these medical reports with him, because he doesn't understand.
Oh, I think we watched that before. Sorry, I thought it was a different clip. But again, explain it to him then. Explain what's going on. Or are you terrified to do that because he might walk away? To be honest, Foodie, I don't see how he's healthy for you anyway. Like, all you're doing is hanging on to somebody that wants nothing to do with you. And he's never going to be in love with you. He's never going to fall in love with you. No matter how much money you make on YouTube and give to him, he's still not going to feel what you want him to feel. So it's you're fighting a losing battle here, trying to hang on to someone that doesn't love you. Okay, well, what else we got here? This person, book lady, says it's becoming obvious that Salah somehow is trying to control Chantal's eating, and that's another thing. If you're dealing with someone that has a BED, just trying to control their eating and trying to control the food, that ain't gonna work. Listen, if somebody wants something bad enough, they'll find a way to get it. And Chantal's sneaky. You tell her she can't have something that'll make her want it more. She'll find a way. She will find a way. I mean, that whole situation of her driving in the car to get Starbucks and a sandwich, who knows why that happened? Whether he was asleep and she snuck off in the car, or they had a fight and she did it anyway, but she'll find a way. She will. You tell her no, that'll motivate her to go get it. All right. So this has been posted on Twitter before. This is the Chantal cycle. Okay, let's start here. The weight loss attempt, cycle 1. Weigh in at 360, 370 pounds, calorie counting and or new fad diet, cleanse, fast, detox. It'll work this time. I know my body. Forgetting all the times she failed this exact same diet in the past. 30-minute videos lecturing her viewers on pseudoscience she read from the shady websites. Soft-spoken, healthy grocery hauls and mukbangs. BB will eat the rest of this. Gym vlogs and fantasies about being 120 pounds. Then we've got the second cycle, which is the breakdown. Community section purge, video admitting she failed at a diet and has been binging off camera, blaming everyone for her actions. I had binge eating disorder. Could a drug addict take drugs in moderation? Everyone expects my journey to be perfect. I was happier uh, filming mukbangs, long late night rants complaining about the haters, talks about disabling comments for people that won't stop pandering to her. Then we've got the third, the binge cycle. Comments and video ratings disabled. This isn't a weight loss channel anymore. I'm done with diets. Forgetting she's nearing diabetes and immobility. Regular fast food mukbangs and off camera binges. I can film mukbangs and still lose weight. I'll just count the calories. Drop in subscriber and view counts. My loyal followers will always stick with me. I don't care. Stop involving me in drama, even though she's the one involving herself. Then the last part, which is the awakening. Emotional video involving crying, admitting she can't go on like this, comments re-enabled, soft and vulnerable tone of voice. I'm going through a lot right now. Apologizing to people she's attacked and hurt. Admitting it was wrong to go back to filming mukbangs while dealing with BED. Talks of getting professional help and therapy. I'm not going to give up on myself. Plans of starting a new diet. So where are we? We got a little bit of everything now. It used to be like the cycles were separate. Now they're all blended together. So that's the Chantal cycle. And that was made back when she was with BB, and it's still going on. And that was courtesy of Tiffany Taboo. So thank you for that, Tiffany. Okay, what else do we have here? Looking. Just looking for anything that else needs to be here. Mere Human says, so Salah and Chantal had a fight about her eating all the food before dinner, and she made a video for him to help him understand. None of it was new information for us, so I highly doubt it was for our benefit. Chantal needs to go home and get her crap sorted. By the way, Foodie, if you're in a marriage, if you're in a relationship, and there are serious issues, I would think that you want to talk to your partner first before anybody else. If you're in a marriage or relationship and you can't talk to your partner, they are not the right partner for you. Like it's not a good sign if you can't talk to your partner about things, is it? And you're hiding things from them and you're lying to them. That's not a relationship. That is not a real relationship. If you can't talk to your partner about everything, this is bad. This is real bad. Rocky Go About says, Foodie Beauty, so you snagged a guy 10 years younger and promised him the world. You promised adventure, money, and travel, but you are close to bedbound, and you were then. You can't keep up. Time to cut him loose and let him have a life. I agree. It's time. You've taken up 6 months of his time, and he probably got compensated unpaid. He got a laptop, he got a phone, he got a car. What else are you going to give him? You keep trying to buy his companionship and buy his love, and it's not working the way it didn't work with Natter. You can't buy a person's heart, nor the emotion in it. He's getting bored, he's getting restless, he's getting tired, he's getting frustrated, he's getting angry. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go live his life. You don't want to live your life? That's up to you. Let him go. He's an idiot and he's stupid. Just let him go, though. You can't hang on to somebody just because you want to hang on to them. And see what else. This is from, sorry, this is from Mrs. Robinson. Clip from Chantal.
I'm gonna do, I think, with this diet box, this is just supplement the month because Salah already paid for like a whole month.
Oh, we've already seen this. Sorry. Same clip. Okay, this comment right here. Chantal from Angela. Chantal, please go back to Canada so you can get professional help and get a mental health doctor to help you with your depression and mindset. I worry about you all the time. This makes me sad for you. Chantal replies with, I saw a doctor in Canada, as you can see from the end of my video. I can get therapy online here and join a support group. That's not going to be enough, though. That is not going to be enough. So let's just say on a devil's whim that she can get therapy online and join a support group, which is not a bad thing. But you're still in the same environment where you're able to get to your temptations, right? You're still able to get to the food. You have no coping mechanisms. So, how are you going to stop yourself? You have no self control. And that's what you need. You need control in your life. You have none. And when you have no control, that's when you surrender and say, I need help. Somebody be the control for me because I have none for myself. That's what impatient is all about. It's about straightening you out. It's about talking to people. It's about seeing what all the issues are. You need impatience, Chantal. If there's none in Kuwait, you need to go somewhere where there is. You are 5 feet tall. You are over 500 pounds. And you can't hide this anymore. You can't do this anymore. You can't have a channel where you're catering to the feeders. Doing that is literally killing you. It's really weird to me. Explain this to me. You do things and you say things out of spite for people that hate you, right? You you don't want to be wrong. You do things out of spite, but yet you're willing to unalive yourself for the sake of people that supposedly love you. There are people on the internet that are feeders that will encourage you to eat, and you'll go with that even though it's going to mean your health getting worse and worse until maybe you might end up in the hospital. Is it worth it? Because I don't think it is. I really don't think so. A person's health is much more valuable than a paycheck, mama. And your paychecks are not that big these days. So what are you trading your health for? Not very freaking much. This is madness, and you need to cut it out. You really need to cut it out and get real. This is from Ruth. Let's watch the clip.
My name is Foodie Beauty, aka Chantal Marie Olive Saro Miriam El Refi. And I have binge eating disorder.
Yeah, we've been known about that. Tell us something we don't know. By the way, as far as she did a video where she did like one last meal before she began her diet plan. And that was so reminiscent of when she did the fast food funeral, which she did a couple of times. So we're back to that cycle again of, oh, let me do like one last mukbang, then I'll do the diet. But who's to say what's going on when the camera's turned off? See, she can say anything she wants. She can show anything she wants when the camera's turned on. But it's a whole different story when the camera's turned off and no one's there to hold her accountable. She even confessed that when she ate the diet meals, that she had like really bad binge moments when the camera was turned off. I've always found Chantal to be a weird mix because on one side of things, she exposes her binges to YouTube for the sake of monetization and money. On the other side, when the camera's turned off, she'll binge in private. A lot of people, when they do binges, they do them privately. And that's because there's an element of shame and embarrassment involved. But on one side, she feels that. On the other side, when it suits her, she's not ashamed and she'll put it on YouTube to make money. So use the problem with food to make money when you need it to make you money. But when the camera's turned off, go ham with the food. And you can't do either one of those anymore, Foodie. You just can't. Rachel says, I'm sorry, I didn't want to get emotional. You didn't. You saw a doctor 4 years ago. That doesn't cut it for today. You didn't continue to follow up. You just know how to play the system. And now you want to say you'll do it online and even start your own support group. So she's not joining a support group. She's going to start a support group. How can you start a support group when you aren't even in recovery or close? Like, you have no sense of self control. I just don't see how that's going to work. I really don't. Oh, and by the way, she disabled the comments to that video. Okay, we've spent enough time on Twitter. Let me just go over to the video because I've got so many thoughts. And once again, I just want to reiterate and stress I am not here to ridicule BED. I've had it myself. BED is very serious. Any disorder or addiction is very serious. If you're someone and you're struggling with a disorder or an addiction, please seek professional help, therapy, counseling. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't feel embarrassed to ask for help. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in admitting I have a problem with something, it's over my head, and I need help outside of myself. So I'm not here to ridicule BED in any way, or anyone who has it, or anyone who has a food disorder. I'm just here to give my thoughts on Chantal and how she's treated her having her BED and what she's done with it. Let me pull up the video. And here we go.
El Refi, and I have binge eating disorder. I think you're gonna be a bit like, duh, we know this. But honestly, as many times as I've heard myself say on this channel that I have a binge eating disorder, this is like the first time that I actually realize what that kind of sort of means more than ever. I realize that I cannot fight this alone. I need support, and that it's a very serious mental illness. It's not just about losing weight, and that a diet cannot fix this.
Right. A diet can't fix it. So you want support, and support is great. It's good to have people around you that give you emotional support and are understanding and compassionate to what's going on and are aware of it. That part is great. But you need more than that. You need to be somewhere where you can stay away from temptations, and the temptations are not in harm's way. So you're in that apartment in Kuwait, alone, bored, depressed. You have no coping mechanisms. You have nothing to distract you away from food. So how are you going to stay away from it? So your problem, Chantal, is food is your entire world. It's the only thing you look forward to. It's the only thing that gives you pleasure and happiness. And even though I am not your doctor, I am not here to diagnose you in any way. Just, I'm drawing from my own experience here. I noticed something a while ago. I remember back when you were with BB and you were giddy with excitement to go right around to all of the drive-throughs and get food and have your live streams going. You would get that euphoric rush from biting into the food, that first bite. You would get that explosion of feel-good chemicals in your brain, the dopamine. But then after a while, that stopped happening, didn't it? You would get frustrated and mad because you weren't getting that brain explosion. You get so angry, like, where is the explosion? It's supposed to be here. And so it went from I'm eating food because it makes me high to I'm just eating it so I won't go into withdrawals because I don't know what else to do to be happy. I don't know what else to do to feel joy or pleasure. You just did it to do it. And you've been that way for the longest. You're doing it to do it. It no longer makes you happy. There's no more joy in food anymore. And your health is getting worse.
I realize I have a really warped relationship with food, and my compulsion to eat and binge is stronger than I am right now. And I need
And that's why you need help. If you can't control yourself, you need to reach out to somebody and say, be the control for me for a while because I can't control myself. And as I've said, if you need help in anything, if you have a disorder or an addiction, there is absolutely no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in surrendering and saying, I know I have a problem. I got a serious problem and I don't know how to stop myself. Please, somebody help me to just bring this to a halt because I can't do it alone. There's no shame in that, no embarrassment.
to learn ways to cope with that. So, that being said, I tried to start my diet from starting today, and that diet is a mistake when you're trying to treat binge eating disorder. And I've been told this many times, but it's like my brain doesn't learn. Like, my brain goes through a cycle. And we all know what my cycle is because people have illustrated online, people make fun of it, and I know I'm going to get made fun of for this video, which is why I chose to clam up about it, or would choose to clam up about it over and over again, and not open up about my struggles or when I'm failing on trying to eat healthy.
You know, I would have sympathy for Chantal having BED because it's a bitch. BED is a bitch because unlike say things that are illicit or illegal like alcohol or drugs, you don't need those things to live. You need food to live. You need to eat, right? So how do you stop a problem with something you have to keep consuming? That's a hard question. That was a question that I struggled with for years. Like, how do I stop something if I have to keep consuming it? Took a while. I would have sympathy for her having BED. I would have more if it weren't for the fact that this one in front of me for years, she gave her problem a job. She monetized it. And worse, she sought out people that supported it. Remember all those people that would buy her food? The Lakma fairy, the person that bought her paneer for over a month. People would buy her clothes. Y'all remember those torrid hauls that she would do? Anybody ever notice that whenever she did a torrid haul, 4 of the 5 items would be too small? Like she would buy things in a 3X and only one item would be the correct size for her. And that would be the item that she would wear for weeks. But why was Chantal wearing clothes that were too small? Answer, because of the feeders. Because they like to see people that are big struggling to get into their clothes. She was catering to them all the way back then. She made it her business to ruin her health and to cater to those people, hoping they would send her more money or give her bigger super chats or whatever. I would have sympathy, more sympathy for you, Chantal, if you hadn't done that. That over the course of time, over the course of the years, you giving your problem a job. And instead of seeking out therapy and counseling and getting a grip on this thing, you actually put it to work. You lampooned it. So I'm sorry. I can't have more sympathy for you. And I have doubts about all of this right now, about you saying I'm getting help and I have a problem. So you're talking about joining a group on Facebook or something, making your online support group and getting online therapy. And I'm telling you, that's not enough because the environment that you're in, there's not enough control. And Salah simply telling you not to eat certain foods is not going to be enough. You're going to have those moments where you're sneak eating behind his back, off camera. You'll make the videos showing yourself eating the diet food for his benefit, but as soon as that camera's turned off, it's go time. You and I both know that. You can't lie to one of your own. Somebody who's been there can see through somebody who's still there. That's why you need inpatient.
But I think I'm going to shift my content to just sharing in a daily vlog my struggles with trying to get better. I've had binge eating disorder for many years, maybe greater than 20 years. I do have some medical documents.
And this is where I get mad. This is the part where I get mad. So she's had it for 20 years, which is a long time. Since she was young. Yet she's been on YouTube for how long? Making all the money that she needs to make. She's had the money that she could have sought out treatment. She could have sought out counseling, therapy. Never did it. Never was interested in doing it. Was interested in going on her channel and getting sympathy for her problem rather than actual help. You had all the tools and resources at your fingertips, Chantal, for anything you wanted. And you chose to use what you gained from YouTube in the wrong way to make yourself more unhealthy versus more healthy. When a person like Chantal, they have everything they need and they're not using it in the right way, they're using it for the wrong things, and then they want to cry about it later. I'm sorry, I can't feel sympathy for that.
From my binge eating disorder assessment, I will share with you in a few minutes. I just wanted to give you a bit of an introduction. This is not the video I was planning on making today. I was planning on, you know, going just, I guess, just showing you guys, like, okay, I expected to just wake up and be better, to be able to conquer this now. I always thought it was something in my willpower that was wrong.
Chantal, you said you've been struggling with this for 20 years. So you honestly thought you could just wake up and be better? Girlfriend, if it were that easy, lots of people across the world would be struggling with what you're struggling with, and it wouldn't take so long to recover. I'm sure we'd all, that those of us that have addictions or disorders would love to just snap our fingers and we're cured. But here's something else. Even if you were in recovery, even then, when you're in recovery, you'll always be someone that you struggle with BED. Because if you're an addict to, say, alcohol or drugs, then you're always an addict. The only difference is whether you're in recovery or not. But you'll always be an addict because the temptation will always be there. Same thing with the food. You can get in recovery from a food problem, but the temptation to go backwards or just to go sideways will always be there. That's why if you got a problem, you learn different coping mechanisms. You find tools to use to stay in recovery. You don't have any tools right now. You don't have any different coping mechanisms. Your coping mechanism is food. It's a cure-all for everything in your mind, but it's not curing anything. It's making you sicker just because of the way you're treating it and the way you're doing things with it. So you're not ever going to be cured overnight. Your problem is that you're always looking for quick fixes. You wanted weight loss surgery because you thought that'd be a quick fix. No. WLS cannot fix problems with food because the problems with food are in your head. You try to use the Ozempic. Ozempic cannot help you to lose 200 pounds overnight. No, it's not really meant for weight loss. And if you do experience weight loss on Ozempic, it's through correct diet and exercise. But even that is not a cure for BED. There's a lot of mental work that has to go on there. And that's not what Ozempic is for. It's not a replacement for a psychologist or a psychotherapist or a therapist. It's just a tool, but it's a tool used with other tools together for some kind of success. So you're always looking for shortcuts, always. But it took you a while to get to this state. It's going to take a while to undo it.
And like, okay, I'll have this for breakfast, then I'll have this for lunch. And it would just all go routine and smooth. And I would have a vlog for you today showing you that I could stick to this 1100 calorie diet that we spent probably too much money on, and for not an adequate amount of food for binge eating disorder recovery. And I realized that also when I was on TikTok watching, be scrolling, and on my For You page, there was a couple of women, young women, who also have binge eating disorder, and they are going through the recovery phases. And what they are eating, I was surprised.
But, ma'am, recommendation if you are trying to stop your thoughts of food, like stay away from content where you're seeing people eating fast food, because all you're going to do is trigger yourself. Why look at things that are going to trigger you and make you want things that you shouldn't be eating? You just showed a picture of, I don't know who that person was. No disrespect to them. But this woman was eating a burger. What do you think that's going to do? It's going to make you want to eat a burger at that moment. Don't look at stuff like that.
It's surprising me that they say, I'm not focusing on weight loss, I'm not focusing on dieting. What we're focusing on first is being binge free. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, the type of diet, for example, I'm on right now with this food service is.
I'm just going to say the thought in my head. I am wondering if she's doing this as a way to kind of side manipulate Salah, like putting out the vibe of I can't control myself with food. Therefore, you have to be around me 24/7 so that I have my control. If this is not a way for her to kind of like manipulate him to spend more time with her, because if that's what this is, Chantal, you suck. Do you have a problem with food? Absolutely. Should you use it to try to control another person or manipulate them for them to spend more time with you? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't use what's wrong with you to control another or put them in a position where if you're not around, I'm going to fall apart. I'm going to have a binge moment. Therefore, you have to watch me 24/7 because that's just wrong.
Not enough. And it will definitely trigger a binge. I can feel it. And I've already eaten more. So I've pretty much eaten. The day started as a little optimistic. Okay, I wasn't that hungry I had a full meal. I had a full dinner the night before. So, naturally I woke up, I wasn't that hungry. And then, I had the breakfast, and then I was like, I want that snack. I don't know if I can wait for a dessert. I'm going to have it as a snack. So I had the snack 2 hours later. And then, I
Here's my question. If Salah is bringing you diet food, if he's got diet meals coming to the house or being delivered, I don't know exactly how they're doing it. My question is this. Unless Chantal is taking the car and going places to get the food herself and Salah doesn't know, how is she getting the food? What exactly is she binging on? He does all the shopping, so he's bringing home food that she's eating, correct? So what is she binging on? How is this happening? She's not exactly a mobile person. where she can get in her car and go right around to different fast food restaurants. Either A, Salah is bringing her the food, or B, she's getting on her phone and ordering it herself. See what I mean about she needs some element of control here? So, Salah, are you bringing her food, bro? Beyond the diet food? And she's eating it on top of the diet food? Or is she sneaking it behind your back? There might be elements of both here. She might be doing a little bit of both. Like, he's not there a lot, and I'm sure she takes advantage of that. But she talks about binging. She's had more than a few binge moments. So, how is this happening? Where's she getting the food from? She's not getting it herself outside the home. So, how is she getting it inside the home to binge on?
Had lunch, and then with that lunch, I had my supper in the same time. So all of the food from the diet box, it's gone, except one salad.
Yeah, and we've clocked that too. We've seen her doing the diet food, and the portions weren't right. We could tell that she was eating 2 meals at once, all at the same time. That's why you can't have food in the house with someone like her. She'll eat it all. Temptation, like I said, if the food is within arm's reach, it's too close. There's a reason why I say that, y'all. If it's there, you're going to eat it. That's just the thing. If it's there, especially if it's a naughty food, it's a no-no food. If it's chips, if it's ice cream, if it's cookies, if it's sweet, you will go for that first. Chantal, she's a carb addict. And I understand because I've been there too. You go for the carbs, you go for the sweets, you go for the sugar because it gives you that euphoric feeling. It makes you feel good, it makes you happy. You'll go for the carbs. And she especially loves things that are really, really heavy, like the potatoes, like the rice, like the pasta. She likes things that sit in her stomach and stay there for a while. But if she's got food in the house, just because it's there, she'll eat it. If you want her to not eat it, it's got to be out of the house.
So then I'll show you pretty much some clips from the day after this. I'll show you what I did vlog, and I'll show you some medical records and discuss that with you. So it might be a long video, so you're going to get to learn a lot more about me. And I'm coming to you with full sincerity. I'm opening up, and if I want to do that when I talk about these things, I feel kind of vulnerable and icky and like weird. Um, but
This kind of feels like an I'm sorry video. Like her and Salah had a fight, and this is her way of kind of apologizing and eating a little bit of humble pie or faking an apology just so he'll get off her back.
just to preface what I'm going to show you in my medical records about the visits, the notes from visits when I did go to see a binge eating disorder recovery doctor at the psychiatry department when I was living in Ottawa. And I was diagnosed with severe depression and binge eating disorder, which honestly just makes life insurmountable. And
So you went to the doctor or doctors in 2019. You knew you had a problem then. You knew it was bad then. And what did you do? Let's remind everybody what she did. Let's go back. Just for context, let's go back. 2019. This is what she was doing. So she knows she's got a problem. What is she doing? Car mukbangs. Oh, this is interesting. My 400-pound life. But I thought you weren't 400 pounds, Foodie. You said you were 350, 330, 370, but here you are saying my 400-pound life. So you were looking to cash in on your size and your disorder. Right? Right. You were doing some weight loss content. What do we got down here? Oh, more foodie. Oh, here we go. McDonald's car mukbang. Yeah, we did that too. More mukbangs. Oh, here we go. Obese girl does water fasting. So weigh in. I'm wondering because she did some fast food funeral. Let's bring those in. They offer channel like all these mukbangs. And remember, these are after 2019 when she was told she's got a problem with food. Look. Does this look like somebody that cares about their problem? That is trying to fix their problem? No, it looks like somebody monetizing their problem and making money with the problem and looking for people that back her up, looking for the feeders. Girl, bye. Seriously, bye with that. Miss me with that shit. Let's keep going.
I try to live like a normal person without these issues, and I just feel like I'm
It is not normal for someone to get on YouTube and say, I've got an eating disorder. I'm going to monetize it. I'm going to make money off of it. And I'm going to look for people that back it up and send me stuff through the mail and buy meals for me and buy clothes and pay me offline for requests. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this thing, which is life, could be potentially life threatening, something that's damaging my health, and I'm going to monetize the crap out of it in every way possible on YouTube and off. No, that's not normal.
just drowning, you know? So I realize I can't do this alone. So I'm going to be looking for resources to help me, even if I have to do it online. And maybe some nutritional counseling.
You want to be taken seriously? Go home to Canada and check yourself into an inpatient because online groups are not going to work. They're not. It's not going to be enough.
Um, there's a lot of podcasts with people, you know, support groups. I might even make a support group. I don't know if any of you specifically have binge eating disorder. I don't mean like if you know, it's not just people who, there's different categories of people who are obese, and binge eating, not everyone who's obese has binge eating disorder.
That's
You know,
right.
it's a specific type of disorder that's like unless you have it, it's very hard to understand. And you see that all the time in comments with people like, why don't you just walk more? Why don't you just eat less? And it's, you know, I wish it was that easy. I really do. So I recognize that all of these things are valid, but they're also my responsibility to try to heal myself. So um that's a work in progress. And I realize that I probably won't be healthy enough in a couple months to travel around and go hiking and do all.
Nope, absolutely not. I mean, we could have told you that if you'd asked the question. No, you're not going to be healthy enough to travel. No, you're not. And that's another thing. Even if you make a safe space for yourself in Kuwait where you can control your problem in that environment, what are you going to do when you travel outside of that safe space and you are around people and you are in an environment or spaces where people are eating or there's food available? How are you going to be able to control yourself? Do you have the right coping skills, mechanisms, anything? No, you don't.
These things in different countries that I want to do, and I can't rush this. You know, I was trying to rush it, and there's that's just not going to work. And I have to come to that realization. So, me wanting to do these diets and these fixes and everything is just what I've always known to do, you know, and I've also always wanted to um, just basically restrict. After binging, I just want to restrict and just, you know, so yeah, it's just horrible. So what I'm gonna do, I think, with this diet box is just supplement the month because Salah already paid for like a whole month for me. Another important thing that I have to do is really sit down and have a talk with him about my medical conditions, like in full, like read through these medical reports with him because he doesn't understand binge.
Well, wait a minute. Those are medical reports and everything from like 2019. And that's, I'm sure you're showing him medical reports from like years ago, but that was years ago. What needs to happen is you need to go to a doctor and get a full checkup because you don't know what's going on inside of you right now. I'm sure things have gotten progressively worse, much worse. And you're terrified of him knowing that. But if you care about him at all, you'll let him know that. If there's any kind of relationship, you will let him know what's going on. He needs to know. He's going to find out eventually. You might as well tell him now. But the person you were 4 years ago is not the person you are now. Your health has gotten so much worse since then. So trying to throw some old medical records at him ain't going to cut it. And if he had any kind of smarts in him, he would take your butt to the doctor and you would get a full physical and exam from tip to tail. And he would know everything.
Eating disorder, and I didn't really take the time to properly explain my condition to him. So
It's been 6 months. 6 months, Chantal. This has been going on. What do you mean you didn't have the time? It's not that you didn't have the time, it's that you didn't want to take the time. You're embarrassed and you're ashamed and you feel awkward. You're afraid of losing him, but he wasn't yours to begin with. He's not your partner. You understand me? You just bought him for a time. You rented him. He doesn't love you. He's there for what he can get out of you, and that's it. But he was never emotionally invested in you. Everybody else on this side of the monitor has seen it. He insults you to your face. He doesn't spend time with you. He won't barely touch you. I mean, girl, how many signs do you need? Read the room. He's not for you. He's just with you. And if you weren't suiting his purpose, he'd move on to the next person. But he's in no way attached to you. He's attached to your bank account. There's a difference. What you have bought, it's not completely yours, and you will never completely own it. So you might as well just fess up and let him make a decision.
I think that that's one of the really big walls I hit with having this issue is that trying to make people understand, it's hard. So I'm going to do that because he really needs to know.
Yeah, he does.
So he can be supportive and he can also be understanding.
That drives me nuts. So he can be supportive. Okay, so he's supportive. He's supportive and saying, I'm sorry this is going on with you, Chantal. But what else can he do? He can't give you the proper help. And therefore, things are going to continue the way they are. That's not going to be enough.
And I mean, I obviously hide binges from everybody. I don't binge. Like, that's why, like, a mukbang that I do is not really a binge because it's overeating for sure. It's overeating, but it's not binging.
Say it. Say it with me. It's not overeating. It's a binge. Use the word binge. Overeating is just you're eating a little bit too much. Binge, Chantal, you're binging. Use the right words here. You've been doing it. Don't be afraid to say it. Because by saying it, you are holding yourself accountable. Stop running from it. Stop minimizing it. By minimizing something, you're not taking full accountability. You're binging. Say it. Say the word. Stop trying to make it for less than what it is. Obviously, it's much more. You're binging. You're binging on camera in front of everybody. When you do your mukbangs, you're binging more off camera when we can't see you. Take full accountability and just fucking say it. Stop trying to find words to make it seem like it's nothing when it's a lot. Full accountability, Chantal. That leads to full awareness.
Binging is something you do in secret and you eat extreme amounts of calories in one sitting, which is why you would see my scale go. I would like gain kgs.
Ma'am, 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 that mukbang that you did from the Cheesecake Factory, are you joking? What do you call that? Would you call that overeating? Or would you call that a binge? I would call that a binge. Because that was 5,000 calories for one meal, mama. You can't sit there and say, oh, because I did it off camera, it was one thing. If I do it on camera, it's another thing. No, they're the same. You got a problem with food. Whether it's on camera or off, you got a problem with food. That's why you need inpatient. Stop trying to downplay this.
In like days. And then there's the psychological and emotional after effect of that, like that cycle of guilt, and then you want to restrict, and it's just never ending. So, but you don't, it's like I guess even after being diagnosed, after always saying I have binge eating, I never fully realized, you know,
You realize that you just didn't care because you were making money with it. You gave your problem a job. That was your content. That's how you got views and attention on YouTube. You gave it a job. And you never once did you have a thought in your head of, this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. It's hurting me. All you cared about was the views and the money. You traded 100% of your health for profit. Now here you are. You're in such bad health, you can't even move off that couch. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. How sad is it that the more money you make on YouTube, the longer this has gone on, the less happy you are? You ever think about that? That even in the time on YouTube that you've had, in the beginning, when your channel wasn't that big, you were able to go places and do things. You were able to go on walks, go to the shopping mall without feeling embarrassed. But the more your channel has grown and the bigger your paychecks have gotten, the more secluded you are. You're practically housebound. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to do anything. You don't want anybody to see you unless you've got a bazillion freaking filters. You do everything in the world to hide what's wrong versus fixing what's wrong. You don't see how eventually that can come to a head? Something's got to give, Chantal. All the pivoting and dancing around the subject, eventually something has to give. Are you ready for that? I don't think you are.
this is just not going to be fixed with the diet.
Nope.
You're just going in circles. And,
right?
Yeah, it's insanity. But I realize I'm sick and I need to take responsibility for my health to get better, and I can't rush it. I need support. So that's what I'm going to be seeking. There's going to be days in these diaries where I'm not probably doing too well, but I'm going to always be honest. And
Doubt that.
I think it's important for me to do this and focus this, make this the main focus of my life, because I can't do anything else until this is fixed. So I have to do it. And I want to live a long, happy, healthier life, and not worrying about food every second of the day. I don't think I realized fully how much of my life has been consumed by food. I'm the one supposed to be doing I'm the one consuming the food, but it's also honestly consuming me in a lot of ways.
Yep, you're right about that.
So, all right.
This is something that everybody's been telling you for years, and you didn't want to listen. You didn't want to listen. How many people on YouTube in your audience in the audience of the reaction channels, how many people have said these things, Chantal? And you looked at those people as haters. You said, oh, they're hateful people. They hate me. When a lot of the things they said were valid and made sense. It's just that you had your narrative and you want to stick to it. You have this rebellious teenager mindset of nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want. And I will do things to tick off the haters. Whatever it is that gives me joy, making them mad at me. All this eating that you're doing doesn't hurt us, it hurts you. You're hurting yourself for no reason. Absolutely no reason. It doesn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be that way then. It certainly has to be this way now. Your life is your choice. How you live your life is your choice. What your happiness or unhappiness is up to you. And that goes for everybody. Everybody in the world, everywhere. Your happiness, your unhappiness is up to you. You decide. And you decided long ago to just give up and say, I quit, and just go with catering to the wrong kinds of people. And all they care about is getting their fetish fulfilled. And those people don't care about you at all. They care about what they want. They'll either get it from you or somebody else on YouTube or somebody else on the internet. There's no emotional attachment that they have to you. You're just giving them what they want at the price of your health. Don't be stupid. It's time to break the cycle.
Right, so let's get to the rest of the video. I'm going to show you what I managed to vlog today. You could see I started out very optimistic about, I'm sorry, I didn't think I was going to like get emotional like that, but just thinking about like when I woke up and I had the diet food ready to go. And
look at her trying to fake cry on camera. She is trying so hard to cry. That's why I doubt this whole thing. Like seriously, you're having a moment where you're supposed to have this moment of clarity, like coming to yourself kind of moment, self-realization, and she can't even cry.
You know, Salah was like all proud of me and to start. And I guess I feel guilty and like a failure, you know, for not sticking to it, even though I know logically that this is not going to treat my eating disorder, that I need help, you know. So anyway, I'm just tired and defeated. So I guess that's it. I'm going to show you some medical records I went through, logged into my medical files that you can access online in Ontario. And I went through my history to show you a little bit of my notes from that. I blocked out, you know, the personal information of the doctors and things like that. But yeah, and I also have some clips from my vlog from today.
Y'all see that? Look at her. Look at her with the downcast eyes trying to elicit sympathy. Look at her. The more she says, the more she reveals about herself. Like I have doubts all the way around. And you know what? That's a beautiful. I love the fact that you're photogenic. Hold still, Chantal. I need a thumbnail. Thank you. Like this is her trying to just act real sad and pathetic on camera. But as I've said, you know, her problem with food is out of control. It's up to Chantal ultimately to fix this because I can't fix it. No reactors can fix it. The audience can't fix it. Salah can't fix it. She's got to do something. She's got to reach that point where she honestly says to herself, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I can't go any further. I can't go any further. It stops here. I have to stop it here. And I'm just not getting the vibe from this. I'm not picking up that vibe that she's really having that wake up moment. I'm getting more vibe of it being kind of performative, or Salah's yelling at her for the food, and this is her way of getting him off her back for a while.
Which will be hard to edit. But anyway, all right. So thank you for listening to me. Again, I'm gonna look into eventually maybe creating like some kind of support group on Facebook, because one thing that really I find really hard is the loneliness, of other people who have the same problem. So I'd also like to help people with my content.
Well, it hasn't helped people. And this is where I yell at you. This is where I really yell at you. Because in the time that I've been watching you and the time that I've been reacting to you, you've brought up so many things on your channel that I'm sure have triggered other people. The fact that you do content where you're sitting there eating massive amounts of food, that might trigger people, other people who have eating disorders. And then you're talking about the DV and the SA. I'm sure that triggered people all over the place. You've always monetized things that you have no business monetizing. And you make a pretty penny off of each one of those. And you are very happy to accept the money and spend it recklessly on yourself rather than heal yourself. Hence, why I don't have any sympathy for you right now, Chantal, because you put yourself in the place that you are now. And I have never seen a true, honest, sincere attempt to make yourself better. If anything, you make yourself worse. You make excuses and reasons why you can't get better, but it never happens. You lie to people and say, I'm going to get better. They rally behind you. They give you that support that you're talking about, and then you let them down. You go right back to what you were doing because you get a kick out of being rebellious and defiant. And in the end, the only person that's hurt by what you're doing is you. No one else but you. You may annoy people, you may irritate people, you may piss them off. But at the end of the day, the only person that's hurt by your disorders, your addictions, is you. Just you. You and you alone.
And I hope that does occur. So anyway, here it is, and thanks for watching. Hey, hello. Welcome back to my kitchen. So, I'm going to get out my breakfast out of the fridge. So they come in these containers, and this is the breakfast. So I'm going to put it in the air fryer for like a few seconds, well, maybe a minute or so. Some foil.
Take a pause for a minute, Chantal, and watch this clip again. This is not me shaming you. This is me pointing something out. You just walked to your kitchen. You're just in the kitchen. You're not even outside. You're out of breath in your kitchen. Do you not see a problem with that? Your health is so bad that just walking to the kitchen, you're already breathless. Ask yourself why. Think about that for just a moment. Think about the person that you were back in 2019, where you're able to do things without breathing heavy. Now, everything you do, even the slightest movement, you're out of breath. Let that be a wake up call. Man, I'm walking to my kitchen and I'm out of breath. Just doing that. That's crazy. That makes no sense. That's not normal. You gotta fix this, girl.
Actually, don't know what it is. So it's actually on a like potato bun, I think, with cucumber, halloum, and za'atar. So it's like a breakfast sandwich. I'm just gonna put that in the air fryer. So yeah, so they make the delivery the day before for today's meal. So yesterday they delivered, and today I eat these meals, and then today they're going to deliver for tomorrow. So yes, I'm going to show you what I'm going to have to drink. Some cold water. I've never had hot cucumber. Okay.
Okay, anybody out there believe that she's gonna stop with this sandwich? Honestly, you know, Chantal is all about self gratification, and food is her first love. Anybody believe that that little freaking sandwich is gonna fill her up and she's gonna be happy and satisfied with that? No, me neither. She'll eat that on camera for Salah's benefit. Then, when the camera's turned off, she'll raid that kitchen.
Let's try a bite. It's hot though. You bite. Cucumber's still crunchy. It's actually quite nice.
Oh, really? Then why aren't your eyes rolling in the back of your head? You're not having the same emotional reaction off of that food like you did with the other food. Stop lying.
I don't know why the bun's yellow. I'm assuming it's a potato bun. All right, so I'm going to eat this and get on with my day. See you guys for lunch, my second meal.
She didn't even eat the whole sandwich. We know Chantal. When she's wanting something, when something tastes good, she'll finish it all off. She ate 2 bites of that sandwich. What do you think happened to the rest of it?
Okay, now I'm going to have these little chocolate nut ball things. I guess this is considered my dessert for today. Let's try it. Peanuts, chocolate, coconut, dates, I think. Like energy balls. All right, so here's my lunch. It is like 2:30.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the portions. The salad looks like it's okay, but there's a lot of meat. And what is that? Is that rice?
So hungry. So here's the salad with some kind of, looks like vinaigrette maybe. Some chicken and a small portion of rice.
That's not a small portion. That is not a small portion. What is she talking about?
So I'm going to try this out.
I'm sorry. No. We're going to go back. No. I'm not letting you off. Let's look at that again.
I'm so hungry. So here's the salad with some kind of.
That looks like a double portion. Doesn't it? I mean, look at that rice.
Looks like vinaigrette maybe.
Boom. When you eat a normal meal, carbs should be like 1/4. Like, you can have like a half a cup or a cup of rice. Look at that. That looks like 4 cups of rice.
Some chicken and a small portion of rice.
That's not small.
So I'm going to try this out. I'm having a 64 calorie can of iced tea. Breaking my rule already.
Wait, did y'all see the text she had on the screen? The slippery slope begins. Why is it a slippery slope? You're drinking an iced tea. Why is it a slippery slope? That's just the wording you put with that. Slippery slope means you're already getting tempted. Like, why are you going to put something triggering like that on the screen?
So,
okay, now I got some thoughts. Okay, so she had the chocolate ball things earlier. This is just me talking. If you are in a position where you're having trouble controlling yourself, if there are temptation foods, you got to get them out of the house. And it's even a good idea to remove foods that look or smell or taste like temptation foods that are too close. So the chocolate ball things, that's chocolate. That might trigger her to binge. And now she's eating potato chips, Doritos. And you know what? She's going to eat that. She might want a big old bag later.
I'm already like freaking out,
Why?
reaching into the Doritos. So,
You know, getting the prepackaged meals is not a bad thing. If you're having trouble controlling your food, prepackaged or delivered meals are good because A, they control your portions. B, they can also teach you what correct portion sizes look like. And if you eat them for a while, you become trained and conditioned and aware like how much a one portion actually is. She's got this little tray of chips in front of her so she can figure out that's a small portion. That is what a small portion looks like versus an entire freaking bag. But still, with someone like Chantal with no self control, that can lead to, well, I didn't have enough chips. I want more chips. You know, you start eating one thing and you want to continue.
so I at least tried to portion them out and into these servings.
Wait. Hold it. So that didn't come with the meal. She just added that in herself. Oh, wonderful.
And I'm eating the lunch as well.
So you got the diet food and you're adding in snacks. You're adding in the no snacks. Oh, Lord.
The dinner that they give you. Because
You didn't even eat your dinner all the way yet, and you've got the chips at the ready. So she's already ready to eat her snacks even before her dinner is finished.
I just found it like such a small portion, and
No, it's not a small portion, it's a normal portion. That's what a normal portion looks like, Chantal. And trust me, that portion right there, that's enough. You're not going to starve. It's okay. You're not going to starve. You can get by with less food than you think. You don't need as much food as you think, especially in your condition where you can't do much, you're not burning many calories. You don't need that much food. That is very sufficient right there.
anyway, let's talk. I'm also
Oh no, here we go. Really? Are you serious? What did we have? So we had the, I can't. So she had the chocolate ball things. If she had a craving for sweets, that should have covered it. Then on top of that, we had the chips. So we had one snack and then another snack, and now we've got the Mars bar.
going to have this mini Mars. All right, so this is going to be me going over some medical records and discussing that. So if this is boring for you, you could just end the video here. If not, then you can watch on. So this is just a snap screenshot of. I went back and found. I think one of my visits was here. You can see the date, 7/11/2019. So July 2000.
So, like in this medical record from 2019, and as I've said, this was like 4 years ago. What about getting her checked out now? Like she needs another evaluation. She needs to be seen by doctors because she probably doesn't know what's going on inside of her. And doctors have to do all kinds of tests to see where your body is at and what your weight is, and the health of your heart, your lungs, your liver, to know what medications to give you that will not interact with other medications nor cause harm to your organs. So, what is the point of showing people these old medical records, Chantal? You're not showing us anything recent. All you're showing us is that even back then, there were some problems and they were never treated. Nothing ever got better. It just got worse.
2019. I was seeing the doctor in 2019. So at the time, I was prescribed a Vyvanse and a different antidepressant, Effexor, and recommended to stop the Cipralex. He thought that my, mental illness.
Okay, we're going to skip past all this crap because that's what it is crap. These old medical records that it doesn't apply to her now. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, because she needs to go see uh, people to get reevaluated to see what's going on.
I guess into the summer from the doctor that I was seeing. This is her first outpatient since the initial consultation a month ago. I appeared in good spirits. I started Vyvanse, 20 milligrams a day.
So she started the medications, but what happened beyond that? They gave her the medications to help her, but she wasn't doing what she needed to do to fix everything else.
It did reduce the binge eating at first, but it did, yeah. However, she noticed lately that Vyvanse effects tends to fade away in the evenings. Yeah, exactly. I decided to stay on Cipralex because the Effexor didn't work as well for me. So things were a bit better at this point. Okay, so this was actually the initial consultation.
Okay, so here's like the second part of it. It says, thank you for referencing Ms. Chantal Sereau to the Regional Center for the Treatment of Eating Disorders at the blank. The patient was seen today, and she was appropriate and cooperative during the assessment. As you recall, she is a 35-year-old woman who lives with her common law boyfriend. She used to work as a secretary at the ROH, but has been out of work for the last 2 years. The patient explained that she had been obese since childhood and recalled hiding large quantities of food in her room as a teenager. So, this problem with her food has been going on for a long, long time. At the present time, she reported overeating during the day and binge eating at night. She usually binges in her bedroom when her boyfriend is at work, or she will binge in her car when she buys large amounts of food. So, obviously, this was during her time on YouTube, because we all do remember her going around to all the different fast food joints and literally just going from one to the next. She estimated spending about $600 per month on binge food. Now, isn't that something? 4 years ago, she was spending $600 on food. And the last time Chantal spoke about how much she spent on food, she confessed to all of us freely that she had been bumped it up to $3,000 a month on food. So in a 4 year span, she went from spending $600 a month on binge food to $3,000. That's a lot. And you don't think you have a problem, Chantal? She denied any purging behavior. Her weight taken today was above 150 kg, which is the maximum on the scale. So they couldn't even get her full weight. The patient is also struggling with depression. She used to be on Cipralex in the past. 2 months ago, she put herself back on Cipralex at 10 milligrams a day. It's not been effective, blah, blah, blah. So let's keep going.
With the BED doctor I was referred to, denied any purging behavior. And I guess this is where the diagnosis comes in. This is a morbidly obese 35-year-old woman.
So this was 4 years ago. Management plan. The patient was urged to stop immediately eating in her bedroom or in her car. Did she stop? No. If anything, she speeded up. So she knew she had a problem then, back in 2019. She knew she had a severe problem. They are telling her, look, can't eat in your bedroom anymore. You can't eat in your car. She didn't stop. They urged her to eat home cooked food rather than purchasing fast food. And yet, that's Chantal's first love is fast food. She doesn't like to cook. They started her on medications. Like they were starting the medication part, but even if a doctor says, "Hey, you need to you need to do this, you need to do that," we can give you medications to help. Ultimately, the work falls on you. You got to take care of yourself. You have to be proactive in your health because we can't do everything for you.
Presenting with a binge eating disorder of at least 20 years duration. The binge eating disorder is comorbid with a major depression that is still active and not responding to Cipralex. And then the management I these,
had.
but at
I
one
just
time
wanted
when
to
my binging was
show
the
over.
worst,
Oh, that's Chantal. That's not me. I don't know why she like overlapped herself talking. So we'll just skip that part. And here she is trying to be educational about it.
and to end the video, self-education is also part of recovery, along with getting help. So I'm not denying that I do need therapy, but it just to
Yeah, you needed therapy then and you need it now. So what are you doing about it? You're going to do online therapy. I think that's great, but you need inpatient. You need inpatient. You have no self control. You need to be somewhere where somebody else can control you and your temptations because you can't do it yourself. You need inpatient. But you're never going to get it because if you went to an inpatient, that means you can't be on YouTube. You can't monetize your problem anymore. You need inpatient, Chantal. Because if you're not impatient, you're going to get tempted. You're going to go for the temptations. Seriously, that's what's going to happen.
show you, for those of you who aren't familiar with binge eating disorder, that binge eating is a serious mental health issue that still has a lot of stigma around it. And these are just some helpful excerpts from articles that I found interesting.
Okay, so uh, you're eating until uncomfortably full and feeling sick. Well, this is just me talking. I think Chantal, she thinks that being overfull is full. But if she's overfull, that's enough. Anything under that is not enough. I think that might be one of her problems. I've seen her eat until she eats so much that she takes that deep inhale, like, that's over full. You can't eat another bite. So over full for her, she looks at that as being enough when it's actually too much. She doesn't acknowledge it might be too much. Restricting to make up for a binge later. I've seen her do that in Kuwait. Like she sleeps all day. She'll sleep for 12 hours just so she can binge when she gets up. And that's her way of justifying it. I slept all day. I wasn't eating all day. Therefore, I can have this amount of calories now. No, it's still bad. Eating to cope with psychological stressors or emotional overload. Yeah, it's called emotional eating. You're emotionally eating, you're eating your feelings. And you put emotional anchors on food. You've given it more jobs than what it needs to have because you're using it as a source of comfort, as a source of love, as a source of nostalgia or a callback to happier times. You're using it in place of joy or love or comfort. You're turning to it for things that it was not meant for. You use food to calm yourself down. If you're eating in anger to calm yourself down, this is bad. Food is not an emotional thing. It doesn't have a heartbeat. It doesn't have a brain. It's just stuff we put in our bodies to give us energy to go out in the world and do things. But you got to get all the emotional anchors off food, Chantal. You can't use it for a cure all, Chantal. That's why you need the different coping mechanisms and things that you can do besides eat to deal with things, dealing with your emotions the right way.
About the diet cycle. You eat uncontrollably, then you restrict for making up for a binge, and repeat, rinse, lather, repeat, as they say. These are just talking about intuitive eating.
Oh, shut up with that intuitive eating. I don't want to hear that no more. Listen, hey, Dr. Blue Couch, listen. Common sense, reason, logic. How can you eat intuitively if you don't have intuition? How can you eat intuitively at the same time you got an eating problem? Make that make sense. If you have no self control with food, how can you possibly eat intuitively? To eat intuitively, you have to have some self control. You have none. Therefore, you cannot eat intuitively. You're not able to stop yourself.
As well, a hunger scale, because if you wait too long, it triggers a binge. Nutritional counseling, and about dieting. I found this article to be interesting from a nutritionist helping in.
Okay, so I just had a thought. She's over here saying diets don't work. That, and I agree, they don't work with people who have BED. So, question on the chalkboard. So you're sitting over there eating diet food. How's that going to work with you? Do you see where I'm going with this? Salah purchased the diet meals for you. He said he purchased them. They've already been purchased. They have to be eaten. So you're going to eat them. But you keep saying all through this video, diets don't work. So what you're saying is, I'm eating the diet food even though diets don't work. So it's not going to work with me, right? Yes.
Eating disorder recovery, and the one thing they point out is they include keto in that, and as part of a fad diet, as being a restrictive diet for people recovering from eating disorder, binge eating disorder. So I just found that interesting, and only about 5% of dieters are actually.
I see a lot of focus on the food and the portions of food, but there should be just as much emphasis on treatment for the mind and the emotions and the mental issues that may be going on. You got to include that. You have to. You got to treat the top and the bottom because the stomach is not the problem. The stomach only does what you tell it to do. You send some food down, it digests it. It has no control over anything else. The mind is where the issue is. You gotta go for the mind. You gotta unravel all that stuff and see, like, what are my triggers? When did I know I had a problem? Like, when did I notice something was off? You got to get to the heart of the matter to deal with the matter. You got to pull it out, the problem out by the roots. Otherwise, it's like a weed. It'll keep growing back and being a problem until you figure it out. So all this talk about food. What about the mind, Chantal? What about the mind? You need heavy duty therapy and treatment for your mind as well as your body. You got to put the both together.
Successful. The restriction, deprivation, guilt, and shame, those are why they fail, are some of the reasons. And they also omit or demonize certain foods or food groups. So I found this very interesting. So I'm going to continue to research and.
Okay, enough with this. So I've given my thoughts on Foodie. Oh, she turned the comments back on. So here are some of the comments. Spaz says, life will always fail you until you commit to professional help. Being committed to an ED medical facility is where you would start to heal. Good luck. Right, she needs inpatient. Porch Drifter says, you have proven you can't do this on your own. You are your own worst enemy. You refuse to get an inpatient treatment because of the cats. Well, that's gone. It's time to fly to Canada and get the help you need. If Salah loves you, he would support this and wait for your return. Precisely that. If that is your partner and he's so much in love with you, and if you have a problem, and if you came to him and said, I've got a serious issue here, I have to work on this. If he loved you, he would say, I understand, I support you. How can we make this happen? What can we do about this, Chantal? I'm your partner. What can we do together to make this right? Go back to Canada and get the treatment, Chantal. Let's see. Egg says, love how y'all always have a disorder, do nothing to fix it except constantly feed off of said addiction and use it as an excuse to be a piece of crap. Well, she took a step further. She monetized hers. And that's why I have very little sympathy for her. Smudge and Frank says, do not make your own support group. The only way you're going to be able to make progress is to ask for help from professionals. They are the ones that can get you on the right path, not your audience, not Salah, not yourself, and definitely not TikTok, video, social media. Get professional help. Right. Go to the people that can give you the correct help and the most help. Stop trying to use substitutes, Chantal. It's not going to work. Let's see. I mean, she just showed us what she ate in a day. The chocolate balls and chips and another candy bar. I mean, it's no, no. Now you're trying to stop yourself from eating the naughty foods, and you can't eat the naughty foods. You just can't. So that's it for this React video. I hope it didn't trigger anybody that might have an eating disorder of any kind. As I've said, whatever, if you have an issue of an addiction or a disorder of some kind, there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame at all in reaching out for help. There are people and organizations out there that can and will help you. Asking for help is the first step to any kind of healing or recovery. Never, ever feel embarrassed to say, I have a problem, it's over my head, and I need help. Never feel embarrassed about that. Because when you ask for help, then good things can come for you and good things will happen to you. So with that said, I'm going to end this React video and post it. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.